Kia ora, I'm David Chester with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news. The market assumption that Trump's upcoming meeting with Chinese President Xi would calm trade matters seems up in the air again, with that meeting now suddenly less certain. But first today's fall dairy auction delivered an average price of $3,881 a tonne, down 1% from the full prior event 2 weeks ago. But the key whole milk powder price fell a sharp 4.6%, as the derivatives market had signalled, while the skim milk powder price fell 2.1%, only half the derivatives market signal. Butter and cheeses fell too, but there was a big gain for AMF, apparently. The auction system suffered glitches, so these details are interim and are subject to change. In the US, their federal government shutdown is getting ever more toxic, now in its third week. In American private sector data released overnight, there was quite a dive in the Red Book retail sales data tracking for last week. As it's a one-off, it's not possible to say whether it's an anomaly or an indication of some sharp retail cooling. But it could be worth watching and could well be tariff tax price hikes that are sapping retail demand. In Canada, they got an inflation surprise. Their CPI inflation rose to 2.4% in September from 1.9% the previous month, and higher than expected, and the highest inflation rate since February. It was the first time inflation crossed the Bank of Canada's 2% threshold in 6 months. Even their core inflation rate rose more than expected. The Bank of Canada next reviews their policy rate next week, and more than a 50-50 chance of a 25 basis points is priced in by financial markets. That would take their policy rate down to 2.25%. Across the Pacific in Taiwan, their export prowess actually gained momentum in a spectacular fashion in September. Orders for Taiwanese exports surged more than 30% year on year to an all-time high exceeding $70 billion for the month. That's accelerating from a 19.5% increase the previous month and far surpassing market expectations of an 18% gain. Demand for AI products surged. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 3.96%, down 3 basis points from this time yesterday. And the price of gold will start today down very sharply, down to $4,121 an ounce, down a massive $225 from yesterday, a 5.2% correction. Silver's fallen proportionately more, down to $48.50 an ounce. American oil prices are 50 cents firmer at just under $57.50 a barrel, while the international Brent price is now just under $61 a barrel. But even American plans to refill its strategic reserves with more than 1 million barrels purchased hasn't shifted the price. And the Kiwi dollar is now just under 57.5 US cents, a little change from yesterday. Against the Aussie, we're up 20 basis points at 88.4 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're also up 20 basis points at 49.5 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just over 62 and little changed. You can get more news about the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.